You're doing it right now, ignoring what you already know. That person who drains you, you saw the pattern months ago. You stayed anyway. That's not loyalty, that's cowardice dressed as compassion. Listen closely. Every toxic relationship in your life exists because you granted asylum to red flags. You saw the manipulation. You felt the exploitation. You watched them operate on others, and you thought, but they're different with me. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that men are ungrateful, fickle, false, cowardly, covetous. He wasn't being cruel, he was being diagnostic. And you keep pretending the diagnosis doesn't apply to your circle. You keep granting second chances like they're charity. They're not. They're invitations for predators to entrench deeper. Here's the surgical truth. Red flags aren't warnings, they're revelations. They're the universe handing you classified intelligence about someone's character architecture, and you're burning the documents before reading them. Thesis: ignoring red flags isn't kindness, it's strategic incompetence. It's choosing short-term comfort over long-term sovereignty, and it will cost you everything. In the next 10 minutes, you're getting 7 principles that will rewire how you assess threats. You'll learn 1. How to identify covert red flags most people miss. 2. The cognitive bias that keeps you trapped. 3. Machiavelli's litmus test for character. 4. How manipulators exploit your empathy. 5. The 72-hour red flag protocol. 6. When to execute ruthless severance. 7. How to build immunity to exploitation. Stay until the end because the final principle contains the one-sentence filter that will save you years of wasted energy. Let's begin. Principle 1. The pattern recognition failure. Red flags are never isolated incidents. You want to believe people are complex. They are, but red flags aren't complex. They're data points. And you're refusing to plot the graph. Think like this. A wolf doesn't show its teeth once by accident. When someone reveals cruelty, dishonesty, or manipulation, even briefly, you're seeing their unguarded code. Machiavelli observed, men never do good unless necessity drives them to it. That flash of darkness, that's them without necessity. That's who they are when the mask slips. The covert contract trap. You're operating under a covert contract. If I'm patient enough, kind enough, understanding enough, they'll change. No, you're not a redeemer, you're a resource, and they're calculating how long you'll tolerate extraction. Track micro-patterns. Start a private document. Every time they violate boundaries, deflect accountability, or manipulate narratives, log it. Patterns emerge in 3 weeks. Deny the pattern, and you're complicit in your own exploitation. Ask yourself this: would you ignore these behaviors in a business partner? No? Then why accept them in personal relationships? Principle 2. The sunk cost fallacy of relationships. You're not invested, you're trapped. You've spent months, maybe years, energy, emotion, time, vulnerability, and your brain screams, if I leave now, it's all wasted. That's the fallacy talking. That's the trap closing. Economics calls this the sunk cost fallacy. You continue bad investments because you've already invested. But here's the violence of it. Every additional day is compounding the loss. You're not saving the investment, you're bleeding out slowly. Machiavelli understood. The first method for estimating the intelligence of a ruler is to look at the men he has around him. Look at your circle. What does it say about your intelligence, about your strategic awareness? The shadow integration problem. Here's the psychological mechanism. You've integrated their dysfunction into your identity. You've built your schedule around their chaos. Your emotional regulation depends on managing their volatility. You're not in a relationship, you're in a hostage situation with Stockholm Syndrome. Conduct the 72-hour thought experiment.
Imagine they vanish for 72 hours, no contact. How do you feel? Relief? That's your body telling you the truth your mind won't accept. Anxiety about their reaction when they return? That's fear, and fear isn't love. Execute the information asymmetry audit. What do they know about your vulnerabilities versus what you know about theirs? Manipulators collect intelligence. Allies share it. If the power dynamic is asymmetrical, you're already compromised. Still not convinced? Principle 3 will show you Machiavelli's ancient test that reveals character in under 60 seconds. Principle 3, the Machiavelli stress test. How they handle no reveals everything. Want to x-ray someone's character instantly? Tell them no. Watch what happens. Count to 3. Watch the mask crack. Machiavelli advised, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Translation? Most people perform virtue. Few possess it. The word no forces them out of performance mode into operational mode. The 5 toxic responses. 1. Guilt manipulation. After all I've done for you. 2. Gaslighting your boundary. You're being too sensitive. 3. Threat escalation. Silent treatment, passive aggression, overt hostility. 4. Triangulation. Bringing in third parties to pressure you. 5. Love bombing to reset control. Sudden affection to override your resistance. Any of these? You're dealing with a predator, not a flawed person, a predator.
The clinical reality. Healthy people hear no and adjust. They respect boundaries as information. Toxic people hear no as insubordination. They punish resistance. They don't see you as autonomous. They see you as territory. Run the test. Next time they ask something, say no without explanation. No justification, no softening. Just, no, I can't do that. Their response is a full diagnostic scan. Document the aftermath. Do they respect it, or do they spend the next 3 days eroding your resolve? Predators don't accept boundaries. They test fortifications. Ask yourself, would a lion negotiate with prey? No, it hunts. If someone treats your boundaries like obstacles instead of information, you're prey. Start moving. Now you can identify them, but why do they target you specifically? Principle 4 explains the empathy weaponization, and it's surgical. Principle 4, the empathy weaponization. Your strength is their entry point. You think empathy is a virtue. It is, but in the hands of a manipulator, your empathy becomes a loaded weapon pointed at your own head. Here's the mechanism. You feel their pain, you extend grace, you rationalize their behavior through their trauma, and while you're busy being compassionate, they're busy extracting resources, time, energy, money, emotional labor, attention. Machiavelli warned, the promise given was a necessity of the past, the word broken is a necessity of the present. They will betray you the moment it serves them. Your empathy won't change that equation. Cognitive dissonance as a control tool. They create cognitive dissonance deliberately. They oscillate between cruelty and kindness. You can't reconcile the two versions, so you stay, trying to solve the puzzle. Guess what? You're not solving a puzzle. You're being conditioned like a lab rat pressing levers for intermittent rewards. The fox and the hedgehog. The fox knows many things. The hedgehog knows one big thing. Manipulators are foxes. They adapt, improvise, exploit angles. You're the hedgehog, loyal, consistent, predictable, and predictability in warfare is a fatal flaw. Implement reciprocity accounting. Track who gives and who takes over 30 days. If it's 80-20 or worse, you're being farmed, not loved, farmed. Deploy the gray rock method. Stop feeding their narcissistic supply. Become boring, unresponsive, emotionally flat. Watch how fast they lose interest. If they evaporate when you stop performing, you were never a person to them. You were a function. Ask this question. Do they celebrate your wins or subtly undermine them? Allies amplify your success.
Competitors sabotage it. You're seeing the patterns now, but when exactly do you cut the cord? Principle 5 gives you the protocol, and it's unforgiving. Principle 5, the 72-hour red flag protocol. The moment you know, you know. There's a moment in every toxic dynamic where the truth crystallizes, the fog clears, you see the pattern, you feel the exploitation. That moment is sacred, and what you do in the next 72 hours determines your next 5 years of life. Machiavelli said, "He who has not first laid his foundations may be able with great ability to lay them afterwards, but they will be laid with trouble to the architect and danger to the building." Your foundation is discernment. Delay is structural collapse. The 3-day window. Hour 1 to 24, the clarity phase. You see it, you feel it, your body knows before your mind accepts. Don't rationalize yet, sit with the knowing. Hour 25 to 48, the decision phase. Not whether to act, but how to act. Plan the exit, secure your resources, anticipate their countermoves. Hour 49 to 72, the execution phase. Move decisively. No announcements, no negotiations, no explanations beyond, "This isn't working for me anymore."
Why 72 hours? Because after 3 days, your mind will start negotiating. It will resurrect hope. It will hallucinate change. It will draft covert contracts. Maybe if I just communicate better. No, the data is already in. You're just refusing to read it. Prepare the exit in silence. Manipulators can smell retreat. The moment you telegraph your boundary, they'll escalate control. Plan in the shadows. Execute in the daylight. Secure your vulnerabilities. Change passwords. Lock down finances. Brief trusted allies. Information asymmetry is warfare. Control the intelligence. Execute with surgical precision. One conversation, clear, firm, final. I'm done. This is over. No justifications. Justifications are negotiations. You're not negotiating. You're announcing. Implement absolute no contact. Block everywhere. No exceptions. No closure conversations. Closure is a myth predators sell to keep the door open. Slam it. Weld it shut. But what about the guilt, the doubt, the fear you're being too harsh? Principle 6 destroys that hesitation. Principle 6, the ruthlessness recalibration. Mercy to the cruel is cruelty to the self. You're afraid of being the villain, so you tolerate villainy. Read that again. Your fear of seeming ruthless makes you the perfect victim. Machiavelli instructed, "A prince ought to take care that he never lets anything slip from his lips that is not replete with the 5 qualities above: mercy, faith, integrity, humanity, and religion." Notice what he said. Seem merciful, not be merciful to those who weaponize your mercy. The integration. You've repressed your own capacity for ruthlessness. You've labeled it toxic, so it lives in your shadow, and from the shadow, it sabotages you. It makes you freeze when you should strike. It makes you negotiate when you should sever. Integrate it. Ruthlessness isn't cruelty. Ruthlessness is clarity with teeth. It's protecting your sovereignty with the same ferocity a mother wolf protects her cubs. No apologies, no hesitation. The false guilt mechanism. They've installed guilt as a control mechanism. Every time you consider boundaries, guilt floods your system. That's not your conscience, that's their programming. Conscience protects you from harming others. Guilt, weaponized, protects them from your boundaries. Reframe ruthlessness as responsibility. You're not abandoning them, you're refusing to enable their toxicity. There's a difference. One is cruelty. One is stewardship of your own life. Ask the future self question. 5 years from now, will you regret enforcing this boundary, or will you regret not enforcing it? The answer is always the same. Embrace the villain edit. They will tell others you're cold, heartless, unreasonable. Let them. You're not managing their narrative. You're managing your life. Their opinion is not your oxygen.
Almost there. Principle 7 is the immunity architecture, how to ensure this never happens again. Stay close. Principle 7, the immunity architecture. Build systems, not willpower. You can't willpower your way out of manipulation. You need systems, structural defenses, character filters installed at the perimeter. Machiavelli observed, "The wise man does it once, what the fool does finally." Install the filters now, before the next predator crosses your threshold. The 3-tier defense system. Tier 1, the pre-entry filter. Who gets access to your time, energy, space? Deploy criteria, consistency over time, reciprocity in action, respect for boundaries. No criteria? You're an open border, and open borders get invaded. Tier 2, the probationary zone. New people enter probation, not intimacy. 6 months minimum. Watch how they handle stress, observe how they treat service workers, monitor how they speak about absent parties. If they gossip to you, they gossip about you. Tier 3, the recurring audit. Every 6 months, audit your circle. Who adds value? Who extracts it? Who celebrates your growth? Who subtly undermines it? Prune ruthlessly. Gardens don't thrive without pruning.
The Sovereign's Creed. Repeat this daily. I am not a rehabilitation center for broken people. I am not a punching bag for unhealed trauma. I am not a revolving door for manipulators testing my resolve. I am sovereign. My boundaries are law. Violate them once, get educated. Violate them twice, get exiled. Create a red flag checklist. Print it. Memorize it. The moment you see 3 flags, you're done. No negotiations. 3 strikes isn't harsh, it's merciful. You gave them 2 chances to respect you. Install the 24-hour response rule. Never make commitments immediately. Let me check my calendar. I need to think about that. Manipulators pressure immediate compliance. Sovereignty requires deliberation. Build a council of truth-tellers, 3 to 5 people who will tell you when you're being exploited, who won't coddle you, who love you enough to risk offending you. Their job, snap you out of cognitive dissonance. Ask the hyena question. Hyenas hunt in packs, isolating prey from the herd. Is this person isolating you from your support system? That's not love, that's strategy. And you're the target. You've got the principles. Now the final synthesis, in the question you need to answer before you close this video. Closing synthesis. The transformation promise. Let's bring it home. You walked in here tolerating red flags, rationalizing exploitation, performing compassion while being consumed. Now you're walking out with 7 surgical instruments. 1. Pattern recognition that sees through performance. 2. Immunity to sunk cost fallacies. 3. The Machiavelli stress test for instant diagnosis. 4. Understanding of empathy weaponization. 5. The 72-hour protocol for decisive action. 6. Ruthlessness recalibrated as responsibility. 7. Architectural immunity against future exploitation. You now think like Machiavelli advised rulers to think, strategically, clinically, without sentimentality clouding judgment. You're not colder, you're clearer, and clarity is the most violent form of compassion you can offer yourself. But here's what happens if you ignore this. You'll scroll away, feel inspired for 20 minutes, then drift back into the same patterns, the same toxic people, the same exhausting cycles. In 6 months from now, you'll be watching another video like this, hoping for a different result from the same behavior. That's the definition of insanity, and you're too intelligent for that. So here's your choice. You can stay prey, or you can become the wolf. You can keep ignoring red flags until they burn your entire life down. Or you can start treating red flags like the classified intelligence they are. Subscribe if you want more surgical psychology that doesn't coddle you. Hit the notification bell if you're ready to stop performing vulnerability and start practicing sovereignty. And here's your assignment. Go through your phone right now, scroll your texts, your contacts, count how many people drain you versus energize you. If the ratio is worse than 50-50, you've got work to do. Comment below, Sovereign, if you're committing to the 72-hour protocol the next time you see a red flag. I want to see who's serious, who's ready to stop negotiating with predators and start protecting their peace. The moment you stop ignoring red flags is the moment you reclaim your power. The moment you execute ruthless severance is the moment you open space for people who actually deserve access to you. Machiavelli's final wisdom: it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Applied to your life, it's better to be alone than exploited. Better to have a small circle of allies than a large circle of hyenas.